Court is back in session and calls number 327008. Case of South State of Texas versus Leonard M. Head. And Mr. Head, again, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. Head, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth that you got? You may put your hand down. Now, Mr. Head, I have before me, in this case, two documents. The first document is titled Judge's Explanation of Rights to Defendants Without Attorney. And Mr. Head, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that's
Yes, sir.
titled Defendant?
Yes.
There are a set of initials here, and these initials are LH, and they're next to a statement that says I want to waive my right to an attorney and represent myself. Did you place your initials on this document?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I have another document here. This document is titled Waiver of Counsel for Purposes of Entering a Guilty Plea or Proceeding to Trial. Mr. Head, do you recognize this document?
Yes, sir.
And is this your signature on the line that's titled Defendant? Now, Mr. Head, I also have a document before me that's titled Information. This information was filed by the Jefferson County District Attorney's Office. This information alleges that on or about May 24th of 2020, while you were in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class B misdemeanor offense of criminal trespassing. Mr. Head, do you understand what you've been charged with?
Yes.
And to this charge, Mr. Head, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Guilty. Now, you're pleading guilty freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading guilty because you are guilty? Now, Mr. Head, you have a right to have a record of this hearing. And what that means, you have a right to have a court reporter to type or dictate everything that's being said. You also have a right to waive or give up your right to have a record. Do you waive or give up your right to have a record in this case? You do? All right. Now, Mr. Head, I also have before me a document that is titled Misdemeanor Plea Admonishment. This document is also labeled as State's Exhibit Number 1. Mr. Head, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of this same document, Mr. Head, there are two sets of initials. The first set of initials is on a line next to a box that's checked guilty. Did you place your initials on this document? All right. And the second set of initials is below a paragraph that is titled Discovery Admonishment and is next to a statement that reads, I do not request discovery of the evidence. I waive my right to request discovery in this case and choose to enter a plea of guilty or no contest. Mr. Head, are these your initials on this line?
Yes, sir.
On page 3 of this same document, Mr. Head, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is that your signature?
Yes, sir.
On the next document, which is titled Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal, do you recognize this document?
Yes.
Mr. Head, there's a signature above the line that is titled Defendant. Is this your signature?
Yes, sir.
There are two boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box that's checked states that this is a plea bargain case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
The second box that's checked states that you're waiving your right to an appeal, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Head, before you signed and initialed all of these documents that I've mentioned to you today, did you read the documents?
I didn't. Yeah, I read them. Are you talking about the papers there?
I mean, all of this,
Yes, sir, I read.
everything that you signed and initialed.
Yes, I read.
Did you read and understand everything that you signed and initialed?
Yeah, I think so.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Head, are you a citizen
Yes.
of the United States?
Yes, sir.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit Number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. State, you like to offer State's 1?
Yes, Your Honor, state offer State's 1.
Mr. Head, the state is offering State's Exhibit Number 1, which is the misdemeanor plea admonishment. That's the document that you acknowledge that has your initials in these two locations on page 2. One is in a next to a box that's checked guilty, and the other one is below the paragraph that is titled discovery admonishment, where you're stating that you do not request discovery in this case, and you're waiving your right to discovery, and you're entering a plea of guilty and no contest. On page 3 of this same document, you acknowledge that this is your signature above the line that is titled defendant. The state would like to use this document as evidence against you in your case. Is it all right for the state to use this document as evidence in your case?
Yes.
Okay, no objections. State's exhibit number 1 will be admitted. Mr. Head, is there any evidence that you are currently mentally incompetent to stand trial? Mr. Head, I will accept your plea of guilty. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. And I will also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
We do, Your Honor.
And what is that agreement?
In exchange for defendant's plea of guilty in this case, Your Honor, the state is recommending confinement in Jefferson County Jail for a period of 30 days. The state is asking that the court give defendant credit for the 30 days previously spent in jail, making this a time served plea agreement, Your Honor. As for the court costs, the state is asking that the court use the time served to both tax and retire the court costs.
Mr. Head,
Yes, sir.
the state is offering that you serve 30 days in Jefferson County Jail. However, you would not have to serve any more time in the Jefferson County Jail because you've already served 30 days. Therefore, you will be given credit for time served. The court cost in this case is $347, but you will not have to pay the $347 court cost because the time that you have spent in jail has already paid it off. Therefore, the court cost will be taxed and retired. Mr. Head, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes, ma'am. I mean, yes, sir.
And do you think that the state's offer in your case is fair and just?
Yes, sir.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Head, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you have entered into with the state. Mr. Head, you're gonna stand on the X right here next to in front of our court clerk. You will follow her directions. Once you finish following her directions, you'll be free to go and you have a blessed day.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for the question, right, Tom?